Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue on with the recent success of the Crown Jewel. We're going to push forward with some more of the Crown Jewel races. Whoa, that was a bit close for comfort there. After yesterday's video we obviously jumped in the Nissan GTR. Fantastic to actually get in the GTR. Today we're going to jump into something a little bit different. We're going to move over and we're going to take a look at Crown Jewel Sapphire. We're going to see what this one's got to offer, of course. Crown Jewel Sapphire 25mm sprint across asphalt and across gravel, 650 to 850, 100k of rewards. We can have quite an interesting build for this race in particular. Yes, we could have a gravel build. Yes, we could have an asphalt build. We want something that's going to be an even balance. Today we are going to jump into the Jaguar F-Type, of course. We'll be given this car as part of the launch of the game, taking the Gold Edition. And overall, we spent a little bit of money at the start of the game in the Jaguar, but we never got to use it. We basically got the car too early. Then it was kind of brushed to the side, we forgot about it. So what we've done is we've built the F-Type, and we've had a bit of an even balance with it. We have got standard road tyres, so it's going to be a bit ambiguous whether we want a more focused road build or a more focused gravel build, an off-road build. I've tried to have something in the middle here. We're going to start off today with road tyres and an even balance. I think is the best way to do it. Like when we look at the circuit itself, we've got more road sections than we have off-road sections. So what we're going to try and do is capitalise on the road sections, make up as much time as we can to not lose all too much time on the gravel sections. Jumping into the race, very interesting to see is that Bugatti Chiron. We've got Audi R8, a rear-wheel drive Audi R8. Lotus, a few interesting cars there. Let's launch this off the line and we out-launch a Bugatti. You've seen it here, guys, you've seen it here first. We out-launched a Bugatti Chiron in a Jaguar F-Type. Probably the only time in life that is ever going to happen. So with a fairly even balanced car here, we know we're not going to be blindingly quick on these on-road sections, but this is where we need to make up as much time as we can. Without being able to tune this car specifically for the road sections, it's not going to be the most stable. We're not going to have the most amount of grip going into some of these turns. We're going to have to be still a little bit cautious here. We can kick the back end out a little bit, but like we can see, the build that we have got here, the car is fairly stable. Some high speed turns, we will lose the back end ever so slightly, but with it being reasonably well balanced, we should be able to make up as much time as we can. Crossing through the checkpoint here, we've already got a 17-second gap to second place, which I do imagine will be that Bugatti Chiron. Now, plenty of straight sections in here on the on-road side of things. The Chiron will most likely capitalise on that and close us down. It's going to have an immense amount of power, but we also have a lot of power in the F-Type, and it's going to have quite a good balance. As we do come up to the first off-road section here, when we cross this checkpoint, we still have a 19.8 second lead as we make a meal of the initial part here of the off-road section, taking out the first rock, taking out the first wall. When we start to get to grasp of how this handles, this is the very first time I've used this off-road. I've not tried it prior to the race. Getting the right balance here, where we want to apply power, where we want to try to coast around some of the corners. It is actually quite well balanced for the off-road sections, but the big question is going to be, can we not lose enough time in the off-road, and can we make up enough time in the on-road sections? Is that going to be the right balance, or have we got it wrong? Do we have to jump back in with off-road tyres, change the balance of the car around a little bit, and maybe make up more time off-road than we lose on-road? It's going to be a big balancing shift here. I think we've maybe got the right balance, make up as much time in the on-road sections than the time we lose off-road. Time will tell. We'll push on with this. When we can see so far, the F-Type, as we do come back and hit a wall, the F-Type has actually been quite well balanced. We know we've got enough power, we know we've got a reasonable amount of grip, that when we do sink the throttle, third and fourth gear, first and second are largely useless off-road in this car. But with third and fourth gear managing to get the power down, we do still have quite a reasonably well balanced F-Type to power through the off-road sections. Plenty of power slides, plenty of tail whips. Really here, yeah, we do actually manage to negotiate it fairly well, and I think we're actually negotiating the power side of things fairly well. We still have that 19-second lead over the AI. As we do come back on road really unsettled with the curbs there, we can start to get the power down once again, make use of the standard tyres that will be more beneficial on the on-road side of things towards the AI's off-road tyres that are using on-road. So ultimately, the AI never actually made that much time up on us on the off-road sections with our the off-road section with our road tyres. That was a mouthful for me to say. But we've got that 19-second lead. How far ahead are we here? 33 seconds. Now, yes, it's against AI. With the stage this game is in, these events should be booming with real players, and they aren't. It's so disappointing. Come down to this hairpin to the next off-road section. When we do cross this checkpoint, we actually take that reasonably well. Still sitting around about 32.8 seconds. I do believe it is that Bugatti Chiron in second place. It will be charging us down when the roads are straight, but we know in those corners it's probably not even coming close to what we can do in the F-Type. Mass amount of understeer, I do suspect. But like I kind of touched on there, with the stage this game is in, with the crown jewel now obviously coming to me at rank 55, these events should be booming. They should be packed with lots of real players looking to take advantage of them. They should be huge. They should be, you know, probably quite hard to get into, and it isn't the case. It's so disappointing. This game has got so much potential and people just want to bash it. I'm not masking over the fact there are issues, but this game has got so much potential. If people would actually invest the time playing it, they would see what a lot of us, you guys watching, myself included, are seeing in this game, and it's got such an amazing platform that it can build on. Now, moving on with the race, we start to come towards the end of the off-road section here, and we will look to get back on the tarmac. We do go a little bit wide here, but we do still manage to hold it and clear the checkpoint with a 22-second lead. A couple of little mistakes there, we do lose a little bit of time, but nonetheless, we can power down through the freeway section here, where I do expect that Chiron to make up so much ground on us. We know that Chiron's got an immense amount of power. Although we've got good power in this F-Type, that Chiron is going to be so much faster. We just managed to hold on to the left, the tricky left-hander there, miss off the bus stop on the right-hand side. Cross through this checkpoint, we've actually managed to gap the Chiron. Now, of course, that could very well still be in the off-road section, but we're up to 42 seconds, 43 seconds now. Next checkpoint coming up. Are we still gapping that Chiron? 43.97, essentially 44 seconds on the board, gap 43. So perhaps that Chiron is now on the on-road section as we make an absolute meal and miss that turning. 29 seconds, it well and truly is most likely on the road section now. Trying to get the hammer down in the F-Type and try make up some more ground there, down to 17 seconds. I think it's well and truly on the on-road section, starting to rein in that gap just a little bit, but of course it still has to come off-road, and it does seem like we have got the advantage off-road, down to 11 seconds of a lead. It's definitely reining us in, but we've got the advantage of off-road capabilities in the F-Type, advancing forward to around about 3/4 of this sprint done. We're back up to 27.29% lead over second place, the Ennis and the Chiron. I do imagine it is 30 seconds now. The balance that we've set up with this car, it is proving fantastic that we essentially have the perfect balance between on-road and off-road, on-road tyres, off-road build of the car basically, all-road suspension fitted to it. I've got it soft enough that it can manage the off-road sections, but not that soft that it's absolutely terrible through some of these on-road or gravel, whatever you want to call it, asphalt sections of the car. Still a bit understeery, can't really get away from that, but we do cross the line in first place with an 18-minute 46. Not bad for our first outing in the F-Type, but for science, we've got to go back in with the on-road tyres, adjusting the build slightly. I do stiffen up just a little bit to try and compensate for what we're going to experience on the asphalt side of things. A Chiron and a Veyron in this race, and once again we do manage to outlaunch both Bugattis in this race. The F-Type, an absolute beast. Of course, they won't launch as well with their off-road tyres, but that shouldn't be an excuse. We've also got off-road tyres fitted this time out. The difference we can see on road here is we have an immense lack of grip compared to the previous build. Back end power sliding around absolutely at free will, but overall it isn't actually that bad of a build. So are we now looking at the possibility that we probably should have on-road tyres here, and the chances are that we're going to make up more time in the on-road, the off-road sections rather than the on-road sections, as we do come down first here to the first part of the off-road sections with a 4-second lead. So we can see that we are not doing as well in the on-road, but right here is where we want to make up as much time as we can, much like the first race, claiming out the first rock and the first wall. But we can now start to understand the grip levels of the F-Type with the off-road tyres. Not doing fantastically well. We need to get the handling model of the F-Type now nailed down with the changes to suspension and the change to the off-road tyres. We can now start to get power down in the off-road, start to take some more chances in some of these corners, throw in a little bit deeper and be able to get some traction coming out, turning in a little bit early to that one. But as we do cross the checkpoint with a 12-second lead over second place, once again I do imagine that is a Bugatti, we can push forward 32%, we're 20-second lead, and we do make a series of mistakes. Once again, underestimating the lack of grip we're going to have under braking with the off-road tyres. We do miss that checkpoint. We could have had a fantastic power slide around that hairpin, but we do overextend, we do outbrake ourselves. We do miss that checkpoint. Moving forward to 52%, once again, getting all crossed up there under braking, and we do miss the checkpoint, hitting a rock. But we're still around about 27.92% seconds ahead of second place. Fast forward 72% into the race, and we take a bit too much of the verge on the right hand side. We do lose any momentum we had, having to reverse back through that checkpoint. Still around about 17.42 seconds ahead of second place. Now largely the build here for the off-road tyres with slightly more favourable on-road suspension has actually been a bit of a better play here. What our target is going to be is 18 minutes 46 seconds. That was the first time that we did have with the first build, that being the on-road tyres, off-road suspension. So we know we need to be 18 minutes 46 this time out. Now we can see here we understeer, we do clip a wall, and we just get thrown over it there with the F-Type. Not ideal, so a lot of mistakes were made here in the F-Type with the off-road tyres, but ultimately we crossed the line at 18 minutes and 32, around about 14 seconds quicker than we were with the on-road tyres. We were quicker with the off-road. So the balancing act here, going forward, going back into these races, off-road tyres, maybe a slightly more favourable on-road suspension, but keeping it soft enough to manage that off-road section, or those off-road sections, has been a build. What I do want to mention though, this is a fantastic race. I don't say it loosely, I know we've got issues with the game, but some of the races they brought to some of the mini-series, we obviously covered it with the Mini itself, the 2CV, the classic cars, the whole host of these races that they're producing for us, now here obviously accessing the Crown Jewel. What a fantastic collection of races. Hats truly off to the game for that. But guys, let me know in the comments section what car you did choose for this Crown Jewel race in particular. Did you favour an on-road build? Did you favour an off-road build? I'd love to know what you guys are using. Please let me know, as I might end up jumping into the cars you guys are using, seeing how I fare with those. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. Something a little bit different, on-road, off-road, different kind of build. We could have went with something standard, the Centero buggy, we could have went with the Range Rover, we could have went with the F-150, but we went with the F-Type. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. Before you leave out today, please do smash the like button, subscribe, tap on the bell, all the usual good stuff, and tune in tomorrow for the next update on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.